morning, everybody. So, today is August 26th. It's been a minute. It's been a real big minute. Today, well, at least as of right now, I kind of wanted to go over how I lesson plan. Lesson planning is really hard sometimes, especially when you don't know what to do and you have such a broad spectrum. So, a little bit about my school and how it works is that we don't really have per se a set curriculum, because I work at a charter school, and the charter schools, we have to I work at a facility to where it's homeschool based, so our facility here isn't a requirement for students to attend. They just attend because they would like to. With that being said, my classes have to align with not just like the California state's requirements, but also like other things about it, which is why when I'm planning, I have to make sure I go with that. I personally just go online and I print out the year requirements. Right behind me over here, these are kind of like the nationwide visual standards that I always keep just as a reference, just in case. And like I said, I just go online and let me do it this way. Hopefully the straw will hold it up. It will. So I just kind of go with that. And another couple of things, I also kind of utilize not just like what the ideas are for each like grade level of what they need, but as well as looking at Pinterest. Pinterest has some really amazing ideas, or at least to where you can get your thoughts together for hands-on projects. So that's kind of how I go about when I plan, is I look at the state standards and then I kind of look up ideas if I don't already have ideas of what I'm going to do. Now, as an art teacher, the biggest tip that I learned taking art education pedagogy classes is when you're taking your classes, take those assignments that you do in the classes and use them. And I do that all the time, especially in my high school classes. I use a lot of the same ideas, or even sometimes the same projects of what I did in those college classes. I dim it down to where students can feel more confident and not feel as overwhelmed, but I use that same concept and idea. And for example, I kind of can do, what's a good example? Like this year, I took a 2D art media class, and we did like a typography project where basically we do a whole project where something is purely done out of words. Super fun project, absolutely loved it. But that could be a project that you could utilize in your own classroom. You could do like something way more simple, or even just the same exact thing and keep it as open and elaborate as you'd like. Entirely up to you, entirely what you want to do as a teacher. So things like that, keep in mind that when you're lesson planning, keep it fun and engaging, and also make it to where if you did that project, you would thoroughly enjoy it too, and you know that it goes with that specific age range, which can be a little bit harder, especially when you're transitioning from middle school to high school. Personally for me, I get them grouped together. So I have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in my middle school classes, and then in my high school classes, it's from 9th grade to 12th grade. So it's really hard sometimes to just get the exact grade level, but you can, like I said, you can always manipulate it to where it hits multiple points, that hits multiple age ranges, especially when you're looking at your state standards and what you're looking for state standard wise. A lot of information to take it, I'm sorry. And then when I'm planning them, I personally love having paper documents. I do transition a lot of my stuff, and I make worksheets and slides and stuff onto my laptop, and I personally use Google Classroom. It's a little bit easier to format and accessible to anybody, especially because my students here use Chromebooks. We don't have other laptops. Students can use other laptops, but most of the time they use their Chromebooks that the school gives them. And with the Chromebooks, it's easy to access Google Classroom. So I just set up a page and I do all my lessons and all my projects to where they can turn it in specifically onto Google Classroom, and it makes it super easy for everybody, especially me, to where I can grade. And also I love doing virtual virtual PowerPoint slides of the gallery shows. Every month I like to do, like, we call every month an LP, which is like a lesson period. I like to do the gallery shows so that way students and other people can see things on our school website. And that's really how it is. So that way people can keep updated and see the work that their children are doing in my classroom. I love it, kind of my thing. So I kind of try to transition my lessons to there, but I do have a physical copy of lesson plans. And I just kind of use like a good old fancy, not even fancy, like just a teacher planner. I got this one at Hobby Lobby. It's kind of a little farmhouse theme. And I also kind of keep my teacher planner here, physical copy, because I do have, like, in case I have a substitute or something, I always have like what we're working on physically in the classroom, so that way they can just keep going and it's not a struggle. I tried to lesson plan, at least get a format for the whole year, and I did that during the summer. It's kind of a little paper that I just wrote ideas and things on for what we're going to touch topics on, so it's a little bit of an outline, and that's how I always suggest other people to lesson plan, is create an outline of what you're going to process. I was lucky enough to have enough time to make it up before the end of the year, before things got a little crazy, so that's just a personal preference. I'm a little fancy, and I prefer, a lot of people use the iPad to organize, a lot of people use, technology. I'm not a technological person very much. I barely know how to use my Promethean board and my laptop sometimes. So that's kind of like a couple points that I prefer to go with. And that's why I kind of just stick to handwriting. And also too, I like stickers, and I like to make it kind of more my own. Like my first week of lesson planning, I'll show you, it's kind of all stickered out, and it has like, it's just fun, and I get to organize it in a way to where I understand it. And you can't do that with technology. Just me and my brain, I don't have the attention span for it. I kind of look at my computer and zone off a little bit sometimes, which can be a problem, but to which their own, and how everyone does their own thing. So that's a really, really great point to put on. And that's kind of basically just how I lesson plan over the year. I know it's kind of really short and simple, but that is what it is. You can also take into account, I do have like textbooks in here, but I don't personally use these textbooks. The previous teacher used them all the time. So if you are capable of having a curriculum, I highly suggest, especially if it's your first year, kind of going a little bit with the book, seeing what the book has, flipping through it. If you want to add things or make a different project instead, you can do that. Like my first year, for my middle school lessons, I took one of the textbooks and I kind of went with it. It gave me the outline lessons, gave me ideas, and it kind of gave me a rough start to do that. I also highly suggest teachers pay teachers. Honestly, there are some amazing lessons in there that you can utilize and borrow until you kind of get an understanding and a grounding of what you're doing. Don't be afraid to find resources. Don't be afraid to just go out there and figure out what you as a teacher works, because it's a process. We're teachers. We understand. We're here to constantly learn. We learn from each other. We learn from our students. And as the year goes on, you're going to find, this project is really great. I'm going to kind of utilize a similar, the project, change it up a little bit every year, but utilize that same idea, because the students love it, compared to one project where you're like, yeah, my students were not here for it. They didn't like it. It wasn't as good as a participation as this project. So next year we can change it up. And you kind of play it by ear, and every kid grouping that comes in that are different, it's gonna be a change of transition. So don't ever be afraid to do that. Don't ever be afraid to just kind of change things up and make things to the way you want them. So hopefully that helps. I know that it's kind of a pretty short video. I'm trying to kind of utilize a little bit shorter videos, especially with my time that I have. And if you guys have any questions, don't ever hesitate to ask. My Instagram that you could always go to is the same as my YouTube, Tabby the Artsy Bear. I also have another one called Itty Bitty Art. It's either Itty Bitty Art Co. or something like that, which is also my teacher account, but I don't always go to that one. I kind of post just classroom pictures and things like that in there. So if you ever want to take a peek at that, you're more than welcome to. And then I also have my Facebook page as well that I always utilize, which is Itty Bitty Art Company. And so, yeah, if you guys have any questions, like I said, just let me know. I am super excited to start this year, and I hope this kind of helps. I know it's a little bit late into the year. I'm trying to get everything together, but hopefully this gives you an idea and helps you out. I will see you guys later and have a wonderful day. Bye!